button that says record. Okay. All right, we're recording. Got one more coming in. So I'm just going to bring up the norms really quick and share those and kind of go over those. And then I was just going to draw a couple of things to show you.
I just did it.
And so let me just bring this up here.
I already asked, can you stop? Please put it up now.
Let's see, that's about everybody, it looks like. Okay, so here are the norms for U5 and U6. I wrote these, so hopefully that makes sense. Let me share that. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to go over these first. I think you guys can see that. Yep, good. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Beautiful. Okay. So got one more coming in. So every thing is the same for U5 and U6. Every week you do the same thing, and there's no end of season tournament. You don't have to have any practices. I've told you guys that you can have a practice if you want to, but the basic structure is very simple for these little guys. I think parents more than anything are wanting to get their kids in a cute soccer uniform so they can take pictures of them. And that's what I've discovered over the years, that many of these parents is really not about their kids developing, Division I soccer scholarships in their future, but it's just about their kids being outside with other kids, having fun. And so we've kind of adjusted over the years to that. So, but the same structure basically in place. So you have 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes. So you have a scheduled time on the field. And so if you look at the schedule, there's an hour slotted for a game. The first 30 minutes of the scheduled game is actually supposed to be a practice. Okay. And you and the team that you're going to play are each on one half of the field. And you got 6 kids on your team, or maybe 5, and you just run some simple drills, dribble through the cones, there's a few games I'm going to show you, or I'm going to send out after today's meeting. You can play a game called freeze tag, where they have to, whenever their ball gets hit by another person's ball, the person who's they have to pick up their ball, put it over their head. And then if one of their teammates dribbles through their legs, they're unfrozen. That's a really fun game. That might be better at U8, but you could definitely develop that here. Also, another great one is sharks and minnows. So just doing some silly things to get the kids thinking about dribbling the ball with their feet, and then also to practice shooting in the goal. The other team that you're going to play on the second half is on the other side of the field. They're going to run their practice. Every team, you should have gotten a set of two 6-foot pop-up goals. You may only ever pull one of those out of the bag and pop it up, but you've got 2 in that bag. And if you didn't get them, I still have like 3 sets. I think that's just because I have a few people coaching 2 teams and I didn't take 2. But if you need a set, we still have a few sets. So usually one team sets up their goal on one side, the other team sets up their goal on the other side. When you're doing practice, I think one of the best practices is just to, whatever you're trying to accomplish, try to do it in a way that you don't try to get 5 little kids to stand still in a line while one kid is practicing the skill. So rather than, each kid take a shot at the goal while the other kids stand in line, if you can find a way, like what I used to do with the really little people, is I'd have them all line their ball up, and then everybody shoots at the same time, and then everybody gets their ball, and then everybody comes back and shoots again. And so that way they're just constantly moving. 3 things to look for, and this is a pretty young age to care too much about this, but dynamic warm-up is where you're just, running with the ball, maybe skipping, doing high knees. Those are some examples of dynamic warm-up, where instead of stretching, you're doing something that actively uses your muscles to warm up your muscles. As they get older, that becomes a little more what we call soft toss. And you guys aren't ready for that, so don't worry about that if you don't know what that is. And then usually give them a little obstacle course with the ball. Here we go, dribbling. So give them a little obstacle course with the ball to go through. And then, big thing is learning how to shoot, how to kick the ball. you should try to, just in a nutshell, if you're anything that I could tell you, probably somebody else has put on YouTube in a much easier to understand fashion. So I don't feel too guilty not giving you guys a whole lot of like technical training, because if you really want to know the answers to technical questions, you should go watch some YouTube videos for 20, 30 minutes on your own and figure out the things that are most perplexing and interesting to you. But shooting, one of the easy things that I would say at this age is say no to the toe. And that's easy for kids to repeat that, say no to the toe. And so kids, a lot of times when they first learn to play soccer, they're trying to kick the soccer ball with the tip of their toe. And that's not, you don't have much control in that situation. So instead of kicking the soccer ball with your toe, I don't have any laces on my boot here, but instead of kicking the soccer ball on your toe, if you tilt your foot down and hit the ball with your laces, that's what we actually want to hit. Or if rather than hitting it head on with your foot, if you turn your foot sideways and you use your insole and your heel, hit the ball right about here, that gives you really good aim. And so, sorry, Lily Lane, I just saw you're trying to get in. So that's another good way to hit the ball. No to the toe. That's a great thing to start teaching these kids about passing and shooting. Passing is usually with the side of the foot and shooting is usually with the laces. But even at this age, they're probably just going to kick it with their toes mostly. Another great game for this age is red light, green light. So they just going and stopping and going and stopping, half of you, I had whistles and I forgot to take them out the second day. People picked up balls. So if you didn't get a whistle and you want a whistle for like red light, green light, I've got those for you in the shed. You can stop by the shed anytime. I'm there Mondays and Fridays. I'll definitely be there from about 4:30 to 7. And then once games start, I'll be there all day Saturday. So you can stop by and get a whistle. The second, so that was all practice, right? First 30 minutes, just doing some basic practice. And so now we're moving down to games. So the second 30 minutes of a scheduled game time is for a game against the other team that showed up to the field. And so this is where I wanted to switch and kind of start to show you the basic structure of a game and actually draw it out on paper for you. So let me see if I can do this. I got to stop sharing this screen. And now I'm going to try to share this one. Let's see. I think I'm going to make this person a co-host. This is also me. Okay. And so now I think this one can share his screen. Let's see. Well, maybe I don't actually think they need to share their screen. So this one, I don't know if there's a way for me to make this one bigger for you. Spotlight for everyone. There we go. Okay. So this is literally my cell phone connected to a microphone stand. So here's your soccer field for U5 and U6. And it's a very simple field at this age. There's a midline and there's a circle around the midline. And there are 2 pop-up goals that are 6-foot goals. And so I'm going to write goal in here. So this is where the kids are trying to get the ball. And so the kids, you're going to have 3v3. And so here's a kid, here's a kid, here's a kid. And then here's the other team, X's and O's. And then the other thing you're supposed to have on the field is a coach. And so I'm going to put a C for coach. Okay. And so the coaches, in case this is a brand new thing to you, the coaches stay on the field at this age group. The coaches stay on the field. And this coach is basically telling these 3 players what to do at all times. And this coach is basically telling these 3 players what to do at all times. And it's sort of like herding cats around. It's not like amazing give and go passes and just the most incredible soccer is happening. The main things that you're going to need to do in the game is tell the kids to stop once they go out of bounds. And so if this is the ball here and it goes out of bounds, it would be good to have a whistle and to start to train these kids to stop when they hear the whistle. So Jacqueline, thank you for that question. Do we coaches need to stay on our half? It doesn't really matter. We're super laid back. We're just trying to be friends with each other. We're all part of the same community. So if there's a reason that both of you need to get over there to get some kids out, that's totally fine. No big deal. Yeah. Thanks for asking that. And feel free to type in the chat. I may not see it. And then at the end here, I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask questions. So if the ball goes out, this coach is probably going to be the one to blow the whistle. And then if this kid kicked that ball out, then this kid gets to kick it back in. And now here's another thing. I'm going to stop highlighting that for a second. Let's see, how do I unhighlight this person? Remove spotlight. Man, I am getting good with Zoom, guys. So if in this level of play, you know, while I was saying you could play freeze tag, I thought, oh, probably not a good idea at this age. Probably a good rule for the entire time the U5 and the U6 kids are playing is that those kids would never touch a ball with their hands. Just don't ever use your hands with the ball. That's a soccer ball. It's for your feet, you know? I think that's a big thing that's worth teaching these kids is just soccer is with your feet, not with your hands. And so, so yeah, there's no goalie. Good question. There's no goalie at this age, just open goals. It's hard enough for most of them to get the ball in the goal. What some people will do is they will, I'm gonna spotlight this again. Sorry, hold on one second. Okay, what some people will do is for their defense, so here's your field again. For their defense, they'll put 2 kids back on defense and 1 kid up at forward. Okay, but maybe this team's like, no, we're gonna play 2 at forward, so these would be the O's. We're gonna play 2 at forward and 1 on defense. And so you can definitely teach the kids the idea of offense and defense. And this defensive player or these 2 defensive players, they're going to kind of think of themselves as a goalie, you know, potentially they're going to act like a goalie, but they're not a goalie in the sense that they use their hands. And that's what I was just trying to get at here is we don't ever, in U5 and U6, we don't ever want to teach the kids to throw the ball in with their hands. And so if you've seen the game called futsal, you can, sorry, one more. I'm getting bad with this computer stuff. In futsal, they never throw the ball in. Futsal is kind of like a new popular indoor soccer game that's out there, FUTSOL. And in futsal, when the ball goes out of bounds, they just bring the ball back to the spot where it went out of bounds, and then they set it on the line, and then they kick it in as a gentle pass to one of their teammates. You can't shoot. It's called an indirect free kick. You can't shoot it at the goal. You have to pass it to a teammate. Somebody else has to touch the ball. And so futsal is a really cool game to watch because it's like 5-on-5 indoor, really athletic people. And I really like that idea with our U5 and U6, just never throw in the ball because we got enough things to teach them already. Teaching them how to do a throw in and keep both their feet on the ground. We're going to save that for U8. And I've been trying to kind of establish that as a norm the last couple of years, but I haven't done a very good job communicating that enough to get it to actually stick. So I'm hoping this year we will. Just every ball that goes out of bounds, like this ball right here, just bring it back. You would take this ball, okay, ball's over here, okay, and then you would come back over and you would set that ball on the line. And then if this kid kicked it out, then that kid is going to get a free indirect kick. And you don't even need to worry, like, can it go in the goal? Like, it's probably not going to go in the goal. And if it does, just cheer. But technically, it should have to touch another player before it goes in the goal. So, so anyway, that's one of the bigger rules that's important. 3-on-3, no goalies, just have tons of fun out there. I noticed the last couple of years that a lot of people were kind of just letting them keep playing and it would go out of bounds and they wouldn't blow the whistle. I think it would be good if we would blow the whistle and actually teach them to play in the perimeter of the soccer field. But that's just how laid back it's been. It's just about the kids having fun and looking cute. And the parents love just watching it and laughing about it all. Let me go back to my norms now. So I'm going to share this screen. Okay. So 3-on-3 on the field. Oh, this is good. So games are 30 minutes. And so rather than do 15 minutes and then a halftime and then 15 minutes, it's a better practice to break them into 7.5-minute quarters. Because you can do 7.5 minutes and most of you have 6 players and on a good day, everybody shows up. And so you got 3 kids and then you switch the other 3 kids and then it's halftime and then you can kind of mix it up and put a different 3 kids in and then the last 3 kids. So everybody, if all 6 of your kids show up, everybody should get 15 minutes of playing time in 2 different quarters, okay? So that's written right there. And if that's confusing, I bet the other coach will understand, or you can grab somebody and ask them like me on game day. Okay, the goal is that everyone plays at least 50%. A lot of times, kids don't make it to every game, and you may only have 4 or 5 kids or 3 kids, and so just do the best you can. We're using size 3 ball. We'll have it set up with like stakes in the ground that say spectators sit here, players and coaches here. I have a plastic bench I put out, and that's for each team's kids to sit on who aren't playing. So a good rule might be, okay, stay on the bench. Nope, you stay on the bench. You're glued to the bench. You're wearing your seatbelt when you're on the bench. We don't do throw-ins. Just teach them not to touch the ball with their hands. When it goes out, put it where it went. Have a player from the team who didn't kick it out, kick it back in. If a player uses, so you may have this happen occasionally where a player picks up the ball. You can either just say, play on, and let them keep going. If a lot of times kids will freeze when they use hands because they realize what they did. And so play on. If it doesn't, matter that much, those coaches on the field are like the referees. And I'd love it if the kids would hit elbows after the game and say good game, or if we're super worried about COVID, parents form a cheering tunnel. And on both sides, you have parents kind of just stick their hands near another parent, and it makes this tunnel. And then the kids get to run through the tunnel, and all the parents cheer for them. And it's just absolutely the best thing ever to watch, little kids running through a cheering tunnel. So I encourage you to do that. And there should be a team parent who organizes people to give or to bring snacks every week. And then the kids get to eat snacks together and talk about their amazing success as a soccer player. Okay, so enough of the notes that you probably already read. Let me ask you, let me check the chat. Sorry, one more question. Do we not have a kid? Oh yeah, I read that and saw that. So yeah, no goalie at U5, U6. There's actually not even a goalie until U10. So U8 doesn't even have a goalie. Okay, other questions? Feel free to put it in the chat, or you could ask me by speaking.
I got a quick question.
Yeah, Joy.
Because I'm totally new to this, and somehow you wrote me into coaching.
I'm good at that.
Yeah. But like if the ball just like ever so slightly goes out, like how picky are we actually about like it being out of bounds?
There's no referee who's watching the referees to bust them when they're not good enough at being referee. Yeah, no, you're good. It's actually, I was watching a high school soccer game yesterday with my dad, and he doesn't know anything about soccer, and the ball was in, but the player was out, and the player was touching the ball while they were standing out of bounds. And actually, cool thing about soccer, my dad's a football guy. In football, you put just one tiny inch of your toe out of bounds, everything's out of bounds. But in soccer, the only thing that matters is if the ball's out of bounds. So kids could be out of bounds, kicking the ball, So, right. And yeah, especially U5 and U6, if it's like probably gonna if it's just 3 inches out, it has to be completely out. And if it's completely out by 3 inches, but the kid's about to kick it back in, totally not a big deal if you just want to let it roll. Because you'll be so tired of blowing the whistle and having them do that indirect kick off the line. You'll be like, oh, it was close.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So this age group in particular is kind of fickle. Like what if one team, has one kid show up, towards the end of the season? Like, how do you want us?
I trust you to be adults and make good decisions. If you have 4 kids and they have 1 kid, then it sounds to me like put one of your kids on their team and play a game with the 5 that showed up. But read the room. If everybody's like, hey, let's just, the parents are ready to go to lunch, that's fine too. Right. This is like a totally volunteer organization. So, you can't get mad at volunteers, especially when you didn't volunteer to coach. So no, I don't want to have a negative attitude at all. Like, I think it's best that we just stay positive and we're just doing this for the kids, But it's always funny to me when someone, like I'll be reffing a U15 game and someone will yell at me about the call and I'll just, here's my whistle. You want to referee the game? Just sorry, so, but that being said, I mean, we're there for the kids. We want to make it awesome for the kids. So yeah, use your best judgment.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Anything else you guys want to know?
I have one, but it's kind of specific to my team.
Yeah, that's all right. Go
Is
ahead.
that okay? I had a parent who said that they were going to talk to you about switching teams, going to like an older one. I think her name was Violet, the little girl. I can't remember her last name. Does that ring a bell, or because the parent hasn't contacted me, so I don't know if she reached out or not.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I have one. I felt bad. I was looking at my voicemails today, and I only have like 2. You know, I'm pretty good at staying up on things, but I have one voicemail that I don't know why, but I haven't answered it in like 10 days. And it might be that kid. She had a kid, and there was something about a nanny's kid or something, and they wanted them on the same team. But there was another person who asked me about switching, but her kid was the right age. Actually, I think that might be Violet's mom that I was talking to. So she should still
she
be on
said
your
she was
team.
turning. Yeah, she came to one practice, and then she said she was going to talk to you. So, all right,
Yeah.
well, I won't expect
I think
for
I
her to
work
text
with
me
her.
back then.
Yeah, I think I work with her. I think I told her that Violet should, because she's still 5, so she should have been in U6. So I don't know why.
Yeah,
That would be an issue. Yeah. So it's tough to move kids around because we usually need to swap them with somebody else. So, but
Yeah.
you know, this year's a little nuts. Like last year was worse, but there's people who are just not going to play this year because of, you know, the Delta variant, or there's people moving to Texas because of politics or whatever. So, you know, we're doing the best we can to hold everything together and do the best we can with what we got. If Eric, if you want to come by the soccer shed tomorrow between 4:30 and 7, it'll be open, and you can just walk in and find all the pennies you want. You don't need pennies, but you could definitely take some out of there if you need some. Also, the whistles are in there if any of you need to get a whistle. Oh, and let me tell you, the uniforms still have not showed up, but the socks and the shorts have. So we have socks, shorts, and I think the uniforms will show up early next week. And so hopefully by Tuesday or Wednesday, I'll be having a, you know, pick up your uniform day down like 7 to 8 at night on Tuesday or Wednesday night. Yes. So lines should be painted. It's funny, there's the weird things that are going wrong this year. There's like a field paint shortage across the United States. And the Mountain View football team was coming over to play another team at Kirk County's football stadium this last week, and because of smoke. And the agreement that was made between the athletic directors was, okay, you can use our field, but you have to bring us 25 gallons of field paint. And so our Parks and Rec guys, they're actually using primer instead of field paint, and they had to mix it with water to get it to come out of their machine. But I think they got it all working. But it's going to kill the grass is what I was told. So, which is great, because then we'll know exactly where to put the lines next year. So look on the bright side. Okay, any other questions? Here, I'm going to put my, I think I've given you guys my cell phone number, but if you need anything, just text me. And I have a job. And so this is kind of my thing in the evenings when I have time to get to it. But it's really, I mean, every year I'm like, I should just quit. This is too much. And then, you know, you see all those kids out there playing soccer, and it's just like, nah, it's worth it. So it's a lot of work. And I know you guys aren't getting paid anything either, but it's worth it because of what it does for kids. And the coaches are the only reason, all the volunteer coaches, the only reason this thing happens is because of you guys. So good job. Thank you for what you're doing for kids. And it's great for your kids. Like my kids have absolutely, especially at this age. I mean, it is such a big deal when your mom or your dad is your soccer coach. So you guys are doing good things for your kids and for kids in our community. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing. Anybody have any other questions? All right, well, I should work on my wait time. I'm gonna wait 5 seconds. This is a teacher thing. Okay, so if you need anything, there's my cell phone number in the chat. Feel free to text me anytime. I put most of your phone numbers in my phone so I would know who was calling me. And I'll see you next Saturday for games. And this week we will have uniforms at least by Thursday night. I've got I don't know if I told you guys this, but I've got the uniforms that are wrong, like they made a mistake on. I can give you those. They're not as good, but I think everything else will show up this week. So it was supposed to show up last week. All right, thanks for jumping on this Zoom with me. First time I've ever done this. This could be a really efficient way to communicate slightly more technical details than a text message can send. I'll probably put together like a once a week check-in for all coaches on Zoom. Just, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how many people show up to all these, but it seems like a really effective way to communicate with each other. Have fun out there. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming.